You're listening to The Lively Show, episode 354. You're listening to The Lively Show. This podcast is designed to uplift, inspire, and add a little extra presence to your everyday. Hello, my friends. Welcome back. Yet another interlude on The Lively Show. As you can tell, I have been very here, but not quite here in a lot of different ways. Here in Instagram, I would say even on obviously the podcast. And in other ways, I've been busy while doing Cocoon and IVFT in the last few months, but I've also been very quiet in other platforms. Part of that was because I was going through a very deep and wide growth spurt personally on the personal side of things. And I just didn't feel like it was the time or place or topic really to be discussing here on the show. And so I didn't want to talk to you guys about other things since this was happening at the same time, but not sharing it felt weird. So I just really went quiet. But I'm back. And this episode is interesting. Before I get into it, I want to also just say IVFT round 3, I guess you could say. Yeah, round 3. We've got the beta round, then round 1, 2, and this will be the third round of the official version of it is coming up in October. So if you're curious about this, especially after listening to this episode by chance, we'll be having more details coming up soon. You can actually go pre-register if you feel the urge and your intuition feels it's a fit over at jesslively.com. And also we are literally in the final stages of approving the new design for our new beautiful updated website design. I am so excited. This one feels like a completely next level. I'll come back on the show and let you guys know when it's officially launched and also share on Instagram and in the Lively community app. Also excited for the app to get the matching update, its new outfit to match the Lively or jesslively.com space. But I have to say, I am so amazed. Jenna, thank you so much. She's doing such a good job. Our graphic designer is doing a great job right before having a baby, her very first one. So anyways, stuff's been going on in the background. I also have this new concept that literally dawned on me this morning at the hair salon, and now I'm very excited to be putting that together. So I'll be coming back with more details. That's actually not consciousness related, but Lisbon related, because I've been getting lots of questions from people about what to do if they're in Lisbon, whether you're living here. I'm meeting more people that are actually moving to Portugal more and more, and also the people that are visiting just as tourists. So I have a little idea for that. So I'll be cooking up that and sharing it with you shortly. But yes, so the big elephant in the room, I went through a relationship. Not surprising that that would be a thing that I would be personally going through, and then, not really feeling like I was ready to share it in the play-by-play of it all. But now that it is wrapped up, there is something I wanted to share that came through all of that experience, obviously for personal reasons and to protect the anonymity and the, sovereignty of the other person. I'm not going to share many details with you guys about the situation unless it, directly pertains to me. But one of the things that I was doing towards the end of it was there's a period of kind of like a waiting period, you could say, without getting into details, where there wasn't quite an outcome as such yet, but I was obviously deeply wondering what the outcome of our situation would be. And during that time, and another time a few years back in Australia as well, these were two very important relationships, probably the two most significant ones that I've had over the last 5 or 6 years I've been single. These two were the ones that I felt the deepest connection to overall, I guess you could say, and also wanted clarity and direction and guidance from my inner voice and intuition. So what I did back then, and then also did here and now in the last few weeks that this was all wrapping up in this situation, was when I wanted answers. And can you imagine, whatever your thing is, maybe it's health, maybe it's wealth, maybe it's your career, maybe it is relationships for you also. Maybe it's your mother relationship or stepmother or mother-in-law, or not to say that mothers are always difficult or anything, but whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be a romantic partner relationship. Whatever the thing that your mind, I always say, the ego's favorite chew toy, likes to problem solve or finds itself all tangled up in, one of the things that I have found super helpful in my even still more recent years is doing inner voice dialogue. Now, back when I began inner voice, connecting with that inner voice in myself in actually, ironically, the college breakup that I had, my first long-term relationship, is where I discovered the inner voice by writing to my intuition with questions and answers back and forth from the mind to the inner voice. That's actually where this whole inner voice thing for me was discovered in myself, is actually at 25 back then. So I guess this has always been the place where my mind will go, I need some answers. And, you can listen to Abraham Hicks all day long. You can do all these things, which is all great. Getting insight from friends, mentors, Abraham Hicks, you name it. There's some really great places to go for information. But of course, there's nothing better, deeper, wiser, and more accurate for your situation than your own inner voice. So when these things have happened, and even in this one, in the last recent while, I started going to my inner voice for guidance day by day. Every time my mind wanted peace and clarity and serenity, to be honest, I would do this. So it often happened in this most recent period where I would do it in the morning. I'd wake up, my mind would pick up that stick, as Abraham would say, and start thinking about, what's going to go on, what's happening, that kind of thing. And I would turn on the voice note app on my iPhone, and then I would lay down with the phone near my mouth so that I could hear and the recording would be captured. And I would just start inner voicing questions from my mind down to my inner voice, back and forth. But I would just switch between the modes that inner voice facilitator training would teach you, or if you work with someone, you can learn how to strengthen this gift within yourself if you want that or are curious about it. The collaboratories also, those hour-long classes, all are designed. All of this we have through Team Lively is designed to help you get better at doing what I'm about to share. Now, when I was 25 and I was just figuring this out for myself, fumbling in the dark with it all, I was writing on a Word document. So if you're not very great or strong at this right now, just try it. Writing it down might be easier than just doing this stream of consciousness, you can say, between the two modes, between my mind and my inner voice. But I thought it would be interesting for you guys to hear me actually share one of the very real, it was actually the very last recording that I have done with my inner voice during this period. I think I did it 5 days in a row during a really, unknown period of time. Of course, I wanted a lot of clarity, but I was following what my inner voice said to do in that period of time, which was to be peaceful and, as peaceful as I could be and do nothing. So as this doing nothing period was happening from my inner voice's guidance within myself about the situation, I was going within and getting these recordings recorded for myself so I could even re-listen to them after I'd recorded them that day. So in the morning I could do it. And then if my mind was still buzzing around the topic later that day, once or twice, if I wanted that piece, I could play the recording back to myself, which is like a custom Abraham Hicks recording from my own inner voice to my mind about the topics of the day that were present. And this is the last one that I received. I mean, I didn't time these in any specific way. I just did what I needed each day to empty out the mind's concerns. Some of them were 20 minutes, some were 40 minutes. I think the longest was about 40 minutes I did it. This one you're about to hear is only about 9 or 10 minutes long, but it's going to give you an example. It's a sample of what I do when when my mind in the character of Jess is faced with what the mind in the character of Jess considers to be a really deep and important situation, and she wants deep and important guidance from herself. So most of the time, most topics like money or career, I don't even have to ask questions. I have so much trust, so much guidance, so much peace, and knowing that everything's going to be fine. There's not much that can really shake my mind on those topics. So I don't inner voice in this way. I'm going to share with you guys for everything, but of course, anything that it can get all, worked up about, and this obviously has been the topic of relationship in the past, is the area that I will go for this piece in this way. So do this for whatever topic it might feel appropriate or interesting or peaceful to do it for. Don't feel like you need to do this for every single thing in your life whatsoever, but it feels so nice to do so. I think I'm going to trust you guys as I re-listened back to this to make sure this was like a good one to share with you guys. Wasn't too specific and giving away, nitty gritty details that might be overly personal for the other person in the situation. But I just think you'll be able, I'm going to trust that you guys can hear the difference of when the mind's asking the questions and when the inner voice is answering. Of course, it's really easy when you're doing this yourself because you're going to know which mode you're in as you flip between them. But even just listening to this, I can tell a difference slightly in the tone of my voice when I'm coming from both. It's pretty similar, but I think you're going to get like the frequency of a problem, the mind, and then the frequency of the solution being the inner voice. That peaceful place, obviously being the inner voice answering. It is fascinating as you hear it because it really, you can see the difference between the frequency and perception of mind versus inner voice in this really clearly. And yeah, just know that this is something I've done for a really long time. So it's very second nature for me to be able to switch between those places in myself. You'll also notice as I air this and as you listen to it, there's a lot of yawning, and you can actually hear, even though there's waves of emotion that sweep through me at times, and you can hear the mind releasing those a bit, the yawning and the relaxation you're going to hear is also something you might even feel, because even as I re-listen to it, I can still, as I'm yawning in the recording, that frequency of peace and calm that's coming from staying in that inner voice place starts to wash over me as well. So yeah, this is not for you guys to feel bad for me in any way whatsoever. I feel like actually following the guidance of my inner voice in these 5 days, or basically generally speaking over the whole course of the relationship, but especially in these days, has really set me up to be in an amazing new chapter and new place. It's kind of like I went through this experience and I'm seeing in my inner vision, I'm seeing my foot go up a step, like this is a transitory period of time and relationship for me that helped me take that next step. And that next step is, you could say like vibrationally or frequency wise, bigger, more expanded than where I was before this experience happened. So I have a lot to be thankful for. Super, super happy that I've experienced it. And also super thankful that I've become so much better as a personal journey. I can see how much better I am at allowing and being still and being present. And even in the conclusion of this relationship, just learned how to be still and present, and, getting into relationships in a place of not trying and trusting that it will show up for me was like kind of a step one that took, for my mind, a while to learn. But now, after having learned that, the step two is also allowing the resolution of things to also peacefully resolve and unfold in the way that my inner voice would want them to. So this is, like I said, just an example of one. It's a bit more general, I'll also say, than the other inner voice dialogues that I did the days before. So just know you can get way more specific than you're going to hear me with the questions that I asked in this one, but I'd already asked all those super, super hyper specific questions in a lot of the other inner voicing that I had done in other days. So just know you can get really nitty gritty, say the person's name. You could talk about, very specific scenarios you might be presented with and all of that kind of stuff. I, in this one, didn't have very specific questions that which is such a great thing, because this means I can air it for you guys and I don't feel like I'm giving away anything in a way that is overly specific and could be, not in the best and highest for everyone involved. So yeah, even for you guys, I feel like this is even working out, because hopefully it's going to inspire you to tap into your inner voice if you have a topic your mind is working through, and also just shows the potential of inner voice. And like last but not least, I'll just say again, if this is something that you can do great and awesome on your own, that is fantastic. Keep doing so whenever you feel interested or called to do it. If you're feeling like this isn't the place that you're at, but you'd like to get better at it, feel free to join, like I said, a collaboratory class, or you could do an inner voice session with a facilitator, or if you're really into it, you could do IVFT coming up in the fall. So this is, like I said, a go-to place when you're super stressed. I have never yet found a better place for wisdom and peace in myself whenever things get really hard, according to the mind. Let's go to the recording, and then I'll just say it here and now. May something wonderful happen to you today. You're done. There's nothing for you to do ever again. Ever again about this or anything. All the things you've ever wanted are now coming to your doorstep. Literally, they're going to be dropped like a package at the front of your door. That's all you've got to do is open the door. All you have to do is open the door, but you don't have to go looking for anything. The search is over. The here is now. That's all you've got to do. Just keep allowing everything. Why is he looking at the things and then letting them go? He thinks that he needs to see himself first before he sees you second. And that's true for him right now. He needs to see himself first and then you second. Why does he think this is okay? He doesn't think it's okay. He's just doing the best that he thinks he can. He's doing his best in his own head. And that's all he's ever had to do, is the best he can in his own head. Why is the best that he can do so shitty for me? Well, shitty or not, it's what you've got. It is what you've got. Right now, that is what he thinks he's capable of. Is it me? If it was you, you'd already know. You know what? You'd know what you need to do. What does that mean? If you knew what to do, you would actually do it, but you don't know what to do, so you don't do it. Yeah, but does it have to do with I don't know, my self-worthiness or something. Your self is in you. His self is in him. Remember that. I know, you can really just relax. This isn't about you being right or wrong or good or bad enough. It's none of that. It just is what it is. It is a choice he made. A choice. That's all. Nothing more than that. Just a choice. The length of time that choice has taken has given me a lot of time to think about it. Oh, we know. We've been sitting here watching it. Look at you, honey. We've watched. What do you really want me to do? I feel really over it. Oh, we know that too, honey. We understand. We want you to feel over it. We want you to give up a plan. Also, we don't want you to think about it, and we don't want you to have a plan about it. We don't want you to have a course of action about it. We just want you to stop thinking about it. That would be the most ideal. The most ideal would be for you to stop thinking about it. He would hate this story if I told it to him earlier. He would never imagine he could be in this situation. Remember, the man didn't have compassion in his equation. He had justice. With his own justice complex, how does he get away in his head with this? He doesn't. Not right now. He doesn't get away with it. Honey, what do you think he's thinking? Oh, you've told me he's thinking about himself. This is very true. What do you think he's thinking about you? That I'm a sucker, or that he's thankful that I'm not making a fuss? He's thinking that he loves you and he has no idea how to show you that he's ready to walk away. He is, isn't he? Not yet, but eventually will be. Why was it so hard for us? Hard's not what we call it. Deep and wide, yes. Deep and wide. Deep and wide. But not the highest and best. I feel like I knew this from the beginning when I met him. You didn't know what you had to go through, honey. You didn't know what you had to go through yourself. So even if you could have seen that he wasn't totally ready yet, you didn't know how unready you were for what you wanted. Also, am I ready now? More than ever, but not quite yet. What's still coming in for me? You've got to figure out how to relax and let everything be. You're still learning how to do that in this area of life. Relaxing and letting everything be. That's what you're still learning right now. Yeah. Well, what do I do with the mind? It was really crazy. We'll take care of it. That's our job. I really loved our time together. All of it. I've never felt so completely sane. The good and the bad. I didn't even know how much I still had in me. Fucking glad I did it. Oh, it's so easy to think. It's just a projection. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a story. But I know, regardless of whatever happens to him, my story is mine, my creation, and I deserve what I want. And I deserve what would make me happiest. That's true. Also,